Alright, time for the next DVD and Blu-ray update, but get this, I might be able to do it in one part this time because almost everything is a collection, so let's see what happens. So, recently I got on the collecting reality TV bug for the first time in a long while, and that's an ambitious thing because all of those DVDs that you have heard of all the main reality shows that you can think of that are being released over the years, almost all of them are out of print. And I know for a fact every show that I've got here, the DVDs without question are out of print. But luckily I was able to get all of this. So the first one, I never got to beyond collecting the first season of this back in the day, even though I wanted to. I got the first 4 seasons, which comprise all of the original hosts' run of Man vs. Food. The first 3 seasons being when Adam was doing the challenges directly, and then the 4th season where he was going from city to city to get other people involved. But here's the thing. This DVD set doesn't actually have every episode. It's missing a couple of them. Look down below and I'll tell you exactly which ones you're missing. And even on the Pirates sites, it doesn't look like that season has surfaced that much. So that's annoying, but I mean, it's a nice little bit to have, especially given how much more popular competitive eating in terms of restaurant challenges is these days, with Randy said, Tell, Freak Eating, Nathan Figueroa, and the like. Now, this next show, again, I only collected the first one of these, but I've talked about every single one of them except for the spin-off, but the spin-off doesn't really deserve to be talked about because it's just a more information show that tells and expands upon a few things that you already know. But now I've got the whole franchise of Top Shot, along with the spin-off Top Guns, which was made after the 4th season, but when it comes to guest stars, you only have people from the first 2 seasons. But really, in my mind, you can watch it on either side of Top Shot All-Stars. But here's one thing that's a bit annoying about it. Notice how it says Top Shot All-Stars Season 1? No, this is the 5th season of the show. It's just the studios trying to remarket stuff and just trick a few people into like buying the complete season on their streaming apps, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, getting those Man vs. Food things other than Season 3, it actually wasn't that difficult. Getting this, on the other hand, that was a much bigger pain. Yeah, but glad to have all these, even though I'm not the hugest fan of it. But again, I got on the reality TV bug, so I wanted to snag it. Now, this has been out of print for at least 15 years, but I guess because of all the other reality TV stuff going in print, and maybe somebody found a box of these someplace, the price of it on eBay is actually reasonable for at least half of them now. So I decided, what the hell, it's only a little bit extra. So I picked up the 3rd season, which is the only complete season that they've released of Big Brother. I have heard from somebody on Amazon that apparently the ends of episodes that like feature Julie Chen might be missing little segments. I haven't really looked through it, honestly. I just wanted to see if the quality was good, and it is. And I just called it a day, you know? Ah, jeez, that thing was dusty. Then, over the years... Hey, wait a second, I've already shown that years ago. Over the years, you've seen me collect a few seasons of this show, but I never really got off my butt and started collecting them. Well, I made sure to go through the DVD listings to make sure that I got the seasons that I really, really needed to get in order to get true proper exclusives. So I ended up getting Survivor Vanuatu and Pearl Islands, the last of the original DVD releases for this show that I didn't already have. Then I went and looked through the made-on-demand seasons to find the seasons that I really needed to get for exclusive extras there, namely certain episodes that haven't been put out on the pirate sites or anything like that. So I picked up Africa because this has a show that was released before the first episode of this show that like interviewed the cast or prepped you for the season, and then it had an episode after the season ended that was basically a follow-up. They did that for Australian Outback 2, the end one, but not the beginning, or if they did, it was something that was broadcast on a different network and didn't get any hype. Both of those episodes that I've referred to bleeding allergies are listed on Wikipedia and a bunch of other places as official episodes of the show, so that's why I picked that up. Then I picked up HVV because the pre-season episode hasn't been leaked anywhere, even though I did have it back in the day, but then I stupidly got rid of it. Hey, this was like 10 years ago, okay? Can you blame me? And then Winners at War, except I do have the pre-season episode that is talked about for this, but I wanted to grab it anyway because that's a good season. And that's currently it when it comes to the Survivor seasons. I know, shame on me, but here's the thing. Yeah. I've seen every episode of a season of the show that they've put on DVD, and there's a buttload of seasons, okay? For all of these other shows, including The Amazing Race, at least one of those two things wasn't true, because I've only seen the first 2 seasons of The Amazing Race, even though I know the winners for 4 or 5 others, so I was justified in picking them up. Survivor, on the other hand, that's going to be a lot tougher, you know. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens in that regard, but I've got all the seasons that I definitively need now. We'll see what happens on that front. Okay, so that concludes the reality TV. On to some of the other stuff. You're going to have to put up with me doing that. My desk has too much stuff on it. Now, this was a show that I really was not expecting to get because it's been out of print for so long, and there's been a lot of articles published about disc rot when it comes to these releases. And it's also a bit confusing because this was a show that had 6 seasons, but was only put out in 4 volumes because the last 4 seasons were half as long due to shooting in color instead of black and white. So I picked up all 6 seasons across 4 volumes of the George Reeves Superman show. That's not what it's actually called. It's just Adventures of Superman. But, yeah. I don't think he has any relation to Christopher Reeve. And even then, one of their names might have an S. But it's a well-known thing in the comic book entertainment industry. So, you're like, well, why would you pick those up if they're out of print and then have all that disc rot bit? Why wouldn't you just try and find archives of the special features and then just watch the show on some other platform where you know you won't have any problems? Well, that was what I was planning on doing until Prime Day of this year put out this. And it cost about the same amount that those individual volumes cost me. So now I've got the best of both worlds. I've got individual season volumes, and I've got fresh discs, assuming that they haven't come loose in the packaging. Probably. We'll see. I'd rather risk that than the disc rot in my current state of mind. We'll see what happens on that front, huh? I also bought those on Mutant X DVDs again, just to guarantee more so that I have better discs, even though there's an HD remastered stuff on the streaming platform that I'm going to snag at some point. This is something that I told you that I was going to do. I just want to show you that I actually did it. Heroes Season 4, the Spanish edition, but that was because the US release of the season is just in horrible packaging, but now I've got it in more traditional packaging. Yeah, why couldn't you have just done this? Now I know what you're thinking. Why didn't you get seasons 1, 2, and 3 to match this? Well, simple. Even though this already has a Blu-ray logo on it, all those other 3 seasons have a blue banner that says Blu-ray right here. Pass. Oh, I accidentally grabbed from the Blu-ray stack. Okay, I guess this is going to be one punch then. Another Prime Day deal that I didn't expect to show up, but I picked up the Arrow release of the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy. Unfortunately, unlike the 4K, they just put it in one case, which I'm a bit bummed at, but hey, people seem to really like these things, and it's the same transfer put out on Blu-ray, so that's fine, and it's got a buttload of extras. I'm real curious to see what I glean from this. Awesome. Now, this is a show that I found out by dumb luck when I was looking through Kristen Curick's filmography, Lana Lane from Smallville. And I got an interest to check out all of the stuff that she was in. It had some good stuff and bad stuff. This TV show, she's only in it for a couple of episodes, about halfway through. But when I saw the first episode, I'm like, you know what? I might actually like this. And while the first season wasn't that great, now I can definitely say that I'm a fan. And I'm surprised that there's not more hype around this show. I got all 5 seasons of Chuck. I don't know where the 4th season is right now because I'm currently watching it. But trust me, there's 5 seasons. And it seems like no matter how you get season 1, you have to get it in different packaging than the rest. But yeah, the first season isn't the best. After that, they find their groove. I'm not the hugest fan of a couple of the bad guys that they've got in the 4th season. That's one of the 007 actors that I'm just not familiar with. So it is a bit on my part, the shame. Okay? And speaking of shame, I wasn't going to pick these up because they never put the complete show out on Blu-ray, but recently they did put out the complete show, and for whatever reason, they decided to put out individual releases of the seasons that they had never done before. So all of a sudden, I'm like, well, sweet! Now I can actually get the show and watch it properly in high def, and now I have to pause the frame whenever I'm trying to read a bleeding text message, because they were expecting you to watch the show on HD, and I was sticking with the DVDs. So I got, again, all 11 seasons of Shameless US. If you're wondering why these have the things around them and these don't, I got these off eBay and I got these from Amazon because they never put seasons 10 and 11 out on Blu-ray before until recently, and seasons 9 and 8, it was real tough to get a hold of them before they put those out, but I guess they put out a new print run of these. So I'm probably going to ditch those, unfortunately, because I just don't want the look thrown off that much, but glad to have those. Can actually watch the show properly, even though I freely admit it isn't the greatest in rewatch value, but it was a good show. Alright, back to DVDs, and now it's still collections, okay, for pretty much everything. I've gotten a desire to fill in the gaps for this franchise, and I finally did. I have all the movies in this franchise, but now I have every TV show of RoboCop. But these are bootlegs, okay? I mean, come on. This is not real, but I tried them on my TV, and they all play nice, minus the fact that every episode is just one scene, but it's still nice to have these, you know, and it's going to be totally different than the movies because they dub it down to make it a cartoon, but I was curious. Wanted to see these one-season wonders. Get my thoughts on them. Then we've got all the individual releases of RoboCop Prime Directives, which is a dark adaptation of RoboCop, and I'm pretty sure that that's the correct order that you watch them. Dark Justice, Meltdown, Resurrection, Crash, and Burn. I'll see if I'm correct in the comments, okay? I think the UK or Europe did get a complete set of this, which I would have preferred, because then it would have been a little less confusing, but take what you can do. And then here we've got the 90s TV show of RoboCop. Now, people have commented about this all the time. There's a great video by a YouTuber called, like, Serial at Midnight that describes the issues that this whole video release has, but broadly speaking, you've got all the episodes and all the special features on the DVDs and the Blu-ray, but you have to choose between, do you want the original aspect ratio with somewhat stuttery footage for the DVD, or do you want a cropped aspect ratio that has smooth footage on the Blu-ray? You can tell what I decided to do. I grabbed the DVD because it's the original aspect ratio. There you go. So now I've got all of RoboCop. Yeah! Now, as I've said before, I try to avoid TV shows that end on cliffhangers, but this has an actress in it that I really like, and I checked out the last few minutes of the last episode, and it seems like that episode ends okay, but there's going to be a bunch of overreaching story arcs that aren't fulfilled. But, again, I'm a big fan of this actress, and I'm glad that she's in a much better space now, so I picked up both seasons of True Calling. This is a different packaging because it was canceled after 6 episodes, whereas this got the complete season treatment. If you buy the complete series bit, this season is just another fin pack. I've already got Dollhouse, in case you're wondering. Now, these were things that I wasn't expecting to pick up for this franchise, but they finally put out the last 2 seasons of the most recent TV show, so now I can finally have that show complete on DVD, except they didn't release it as a 3rd volume, which was annoying. They instead put out the last 2 seasons of Voltron Legendary Defender in this complete series packaging. Yeah, that's a little annoying, but it's all the same discs, and I still have those individual volumes, so I'll take what I can get, you know. I've had the whole season show in HD for freaking forever. And then, get this. You know how I said that there's 2 different releases of the original Voltron show? One that is in several volumes and has a bunch of extras, and then in a more cheaper version that has all the episodes of great quality but no extras. Well, I didn't get one of those original volumes because it was the only volume that I needed that still had extras, and it was out of print. Until recently, maybe they brought it back in print, maybe they just found another box, but I finally got volume 6, or really volume 1, of Voltron, Defender of the Universe, and this is the first volume of Vehicle Force, which is the Air Team. This is the only volume of Vehicle Force Voltron that actually has real extras, because the other two, all they've got is a whole bunch of trailers for various anime things, along with one episode of Armored Fleet Dire Rugger. But as somebody who already has all of Dire Rugger downloaded, didn't need that. This, it has a couple of extras, though it's still less than the Lion Force extras, but it's just nice to not have to worry about that anymore. But speaking of worrying anymore, I decided, you know what? Get off your butt and purchase Lion Force in the new volume. So I know what you're thinking, but wait a sec. You already own the new bit of Vehicle Force Voltron. Why'd you buy the complete series set? Because this was cheaper. Yeah, it was cheaper for me to get the complete thing than get the individual volume on its own. What about that? Well, at least now I don't have to worry about Voltron anymore unless somebody comes up with a bootleg of those other two shows, though I don't care about Third Dimension. Oh my god, who the hell thought that that was a good animation style? Whatever. Okay. So I decided to get off my butt and to get a lot of my friends' haters going, hey, why the hell do you have that show? Why don't you have the good show? Oh, I got the good show. I got the good show, all right. And if you're wondering why season 4 here is still in the original kind of volume bit and it's not in the regular DVD case like this, somehow they never made season 4 in a slimmer thing like that. No, literally, yeah. There isn't anything like that. So, eventually I'm just gonna take these discs out, get someone that made a, season 4 equivalent of, disc cover art, and then just throw it all in a blank case. But I do hope I enjoy this show. Like, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it as much as the crowd, but I think I'm gonna like it. Ouch. Then, filling in the gaps. What the hell? Oh, there it is. Filling in the gaps that I have with this franchise for at least its main works. I don't have the stuff that kind of was the precursor to this franchise, along with the vain attempts at reviving it over the years. I got all 5 seasons of Gomer Pyle, which is a spin-off of the Andy Griffith Show, and then I got the sequel to the Andy Griffith Show, Mayberry RFD. It didn't come in packaging like this. I had to get it out of that packaging to have a disc thing that, has a spindle for every disc properly, so it doesn't look as good on the shelf, but what can you do? The studios only put that out as a complete series set. They didn't put out individual seasons. I've had the first season of this show for freaking forever. Haven't watched it, but I'm like, I want to watch it all eventually. So now I have every season of Alias. Awesome. So, we're almost done. So, speaking of Kristen Curick from Smallville, she is the lead actress in like 3 different TV shows, one of which is current, is never going to get a DVD or Blu-ray release. The second one is only has the first season out. It was a real pain for me to track down online, but the first one actually did get a complete series release on DVD, even though those HD transfers out there that I have. But now I have all 4 seasons of Beauty and the Beast. And this is the show, as I said, that has Christian Curick, was made from like '08 to 2012. This is not the show that has Linda Hamilton in it that was released forever ago, and this has nothing to do with the Disney movie or the fairy tale. Okay, well, okay. It might have a loose theme related to the fairy tale, but this is totally different, okay? I don't want that confusion. All those are out of print, I think, though. It was minus a complete series set. Yeah, the individual volumes are out of print. Now, this was something that I watched when I was younger, but it turns out I was watching the cut-down version of it that we got in America. If we had gotten the UK version of this, I would have gone into a lot more detail about this concept and locations that aren't shown in the cut-down version. So I got the full version of The Future is Wild, the UK version that has 13 episodes, has a lot of talking heads with scientists, and has no space probe. But get this, whoever is in charge of this show, they recently remastered all 13 episodes and the American version into HD. Yeah, you can find them just as easy on here, so make sure you go and grab those. The American version of the show is out of print, that DVD version, but it didn't have any extras on it. So, yeah, you make do with what you got. And this is a 20-year-old itch that has come in and out of my mind over the years. And then I finally got a desire to check this out because I happened to hear it pitched to me correctly. I got the original DVD release of Liberty's Kids, even though many people would just say Liberty Kids, because that's just a little easier on the tongue. And this is kind of an interesting concept because this is a cartoon that takes place during the lead up and actual occurrence of the Revolutionary War and the formation of the United States of America. But the protagonists here, they're just people that are on the sidelines and are just viewing stuff from their point of view, but no one questions them because, you know, it's a cartoon. Right, but it's got a star-studded cast with all kinds of famous people voicing various roles. It has Aaron Carter as one of the singers for the intro, and yeah, once I'm done with Chuck, I'm looking forward to watching that and getting that itch scratched. It's probably not going to be, oh my god, that impressive, because obviously I'm way outside the target age bracket, but I think it's going to be interesting. Okay, yeah, so a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I think I was right in keeping this to one part, because, yeah, there wasn't enough Blu-rays to make it their own part. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this update. See you in the next one.